Okay, so let's have a look on how we can use for loops with lists. So the most basic usage is quite straightforward. We use it in exactly the same manner we have been using for loops with strings. So basically, for an element in something iterable, in this case list, do something. So for an element which will be an animal in the list with animals, just print this animal. So if I run this code, remember that the animals list contains three animals, cat, dog, and llama. We can get the same behavior if we do something else. So let me first change this code a little bit. So I know that this list has 3 elements. So if I run this code right now, my I will start with 0 because I have a function range, as you remember from previous notebook. Range will give me numbers 0, 1, and 2. So everything until 3. So then I can access elements of a list, 0th element, first element, and second element, and I can print them. So I get exactly the same behavior as before. If I left the code like this, there would be a problem. This wouldn't be exactly the same behavior, because if we go back to the top and copy the list with animals and we try to change it before. So let's suppose I had code like this and code like this. Suppose I want to add something here. So for instance, I want to add a tiger here. So now I have 4 elements in my list. This still works, but this thing will show me only 3 elements of a list because I was going until element number 3. So element with index 3 is here and it's not included in the output. Moreover, even worse thing happen if I delete some elements of my list. This code still works because Python simply goes through all of the elements of the list. Here Python will try to access 0th element, first element, and second element. And there is no second element, so we will get index out of range error. So we again get the same error we have already seen. The problem is we used incorrect index here. What can we do about this? Well, we can quickly solve this by not enforcing that our list has length 3, that we just go through indices from 0 to 3. We can ask Python to compute the current length of the list. Python will compute this. At this time it's 2, so Python will go only through indices 0 and 1. And now if I add some elements to my list, both code cells work and give me the same result. If I add another element, still everything works. This cell and this cell works exactly in the same manner. So you might ask, why bother with this if I have something as pleasant and as readable as this? Well, the reason is quite straightforward. This thing works only if you want to see the elements of a list and somehow determine the behavior of a for loop based on the values of these elements. If you want to somehow change the elements of the list, you need to have indices, because remember, to change the element of a list, you have to first tell Python which element you want to change. So for instance, the second element, and then use equal sign and put something else in this place. So for instance, elephant, right? And then we would change the second element, so this one, to elephant. I won't do it because I don't want to change these examples here. So what happens if we try here to just go with a simple for loop, go through animals and try to just write animal equals zebra? Well, as you can see, nothing has changed. My list still does not contain zebra. I have created a variable which contains a string zebra here, but I haven't changed any of the elements of a list. If I want to change elements of a list, I have to first access them using an index. So I have to use this second example of ours. I have to go through the range of indices. I have to get the length of the list, go through the range of indices, and then I can, for instance, change all of the elements. So for each index, I'm changing the element to zebra. If I run this code right now, I can see that I get zebra, 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 zebra. So cat was replaced with this zebra, dog was replaced with zebra, llama and tiger was replaced with zebra. And of course, we can add some if statements here. So for instance, if I only want to change the second element, I can check whether the element, the index is 2, and execute this code only if this happens, and for instance replace this with lion. So now my animals list was zebra, 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 zebra. Now second element, so this one, should be replaced with lion. I can run this code and see that this is indeed true. So as you can see, we can combine stuff. We can combine for loops, conditional statements. Obviously, we can also create functions with that, and we can use all of that with lists. So this summarizes how to use for loops with lists. And in the next video, we will talk about how we can add and remove items from a list. So thank you for your attention and see you in the next video.